Omid Tofresh Nun, that's to say 650, in the Ain Beis of the Hemshech Ain Beis, and we're holding at the beginning of the new chapter Shiur Tet. So I think in order to get the flow and the run of the Inyan, I will just make a brief repetition at the beginning of this chapter, even though Domani that we did learn a few lines at least of this chapter in the last year, but in order to sort of come in at a central point, we'll start off. So the beginning of the chapter, Shiur Tes, or Mashiach Bechinas Deimon Tzamei Ba'atzilas. That what we find mentioned, Shemus, Kol Minei Beneget to Malchus, like Evan and Shoshana, and different names which are given to Malchus D'Atzilas. And we said Vaheino Oisias, the Yud Mamoris D'Atzilas, and they are the Oisias, or those names are the Oisias of the Yud Mamoris, how they are. Mitzad Dibur Ha'elion, what does the Inyan of Malchus D'Atzilas. However, we saw that not that those Inyonim are present in Atzilas, no, those are the Inyonim which produce, B'derech Yesh Me'ayin, the Inyonim Ha'ile Be'elamas Biyah. And they're called in Malchus Al Shem Puloson, Al Shem Mashanif Al Mehen Be'biyah. Not the kavanah is that those Inyonim are actually Nimtoim, but Malchus D'Atzilas, as we learned towards the end of the previous Eis. Or Inyan Hu, Tehine Kosa B'Sefer Shel Beinanim, Chelik Beis Shara Yichud V'Amona Perik Daled, Be'inyan, the two Toyarim, which we find when I get to the Eibishter, Hagodel, Hagibah. And we saw that Hagodel, that's the Lashon of the Alter Rebbe, Hu B'chinas HaChesed, Lahaveis Bruim Me'ayin Leyesh, that's the Etzem Yizgalus at the Koyach of the Eibishter to bring about Bruim in Elamas Biyah Me'ayin Leyesh. And it's called, why is it called Gedula? Because it's Bo Migdula Sei Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And as you do, Beklau on Mova Bedrushich Siddas, that the Mekubalim HaRishenim, the early Mekubalim, they used to call Midas HaChesed Beklau, the Inyan Gedula. Not that we had to learn Pshat, that Gedula was the Inyan of Chesed. Instead of the word Chesed, they had the name and the Inyan of Gedula. Yeah, and why is it called? Because it's Bo Migdula Sei Kaviocho from HaKadosh Baruch Hu B'chveidei U'va'atzmei. And that's why we call it the Inyan Gedula, because it's the word Gedula indicates the very essence of the Eibishter's own personal greatness, which is mitzad kvoida v'atzmei, mitzad the atmas itself, ki godel havaya, because we use the expression great is the Eibishter, that the Shem Havaya is the Shem Ha'etzem, and godel havaya indicates that that's a Inyan which is negeh to atzmosei, v'lochein mashpia gamkein, the Olam HaSaburim ad lahin Shiur v'tachlit. Mitzad the Etzem Gedula itself, then he's able to be mashpia bruhim v'chulu ad lahin Keitz v'tachlit, as he's Matzayin over there, the Alter Rebbe. V'nira a kavanah, so the Rebbe says, what do you mean? That's a gili ma'atzmusu, or that's the pu'ula, as it were. The Gedula is atzmusai. So, Kasalcha Daita Chamina, you might think that means that the the hisavus of this nature is mamish me'atzmosai. Therefore, the Rebbe puts in brackets v'nira hakavona k'moishikosa b'geros hakodesh shemen kof sheho'oya mahave liyosei me'ein hamoya. That's not atzmosai mamish, which is mahave b'poyo. The other, that's only the oyas. We avoid saying that the atzmos himself actually is mahava b'goli. The nivra, it's only koi hoi me gidurosai b'atzmosai akavana koi hoi sheba b'haoyer. That koyach is brought over and is mizgala b'teich haoyer over the actual mahava. But poyer is the inner from the oil. But giboyer, so that's the inner of chesed, and that's the inner of gedulosai, ha'atzmias, mamish mitzad atzmosai, and that's ba derech ha'oyer to be mahave bruim nevroim ad ein shiva taxes. But giboyer, we saw that that's the inner of gevura mitzad ha'etzem. Giboyer who midas atzimtzum or manias pastors. We saw that midah, how it is mitzad atzmosai, but that's the koyach hamaniya, the koyach to, as it were, prevent and hold back, and not to give forth the full isgalas applied by the union of the me'ein hamoya. Ela adarabah, that there should be a union of tzimtzum. A maniya is haish pastors. There should be a certain, as it were, preventation of the etzem gili of these pastors. She hanivro b'chinas yesh v'dova b'fnei atzmei. As he writes over there towards the end, that's the uftu, or the, as it were, the pu'ula of the midas ha'gvura mitzad atzmosai, that's ad kerikach. Also mitzad the yicheles atzmos, and not even from bilti yadua, from bilti musa klau, by the makablim and the nivroim and biyah, how that can be, but even ein seifi mitzad etzem ha'atzmos atzmo, then there's a koyach also to be monea, the pastors, which eventually gives rise to the union of yes v'dova. What the Nivra feels itself to be a separate entity, be'elam is biyah. But Shon, he said, Ain Beis the mover in L'Kutei Torah, v'kama makemas, that these are the two inyonim ha'mavur psukim, v'kama makemas b'tanach, with the lesson of Yodai HaGedelu v'Yodai HaChazoker. These are the base Yodays, Yad HaGedelu v'Yad HaChazoker. She'ein b'chinas chesed u'gevura she'ba'arich. But that's the union, how it's already come into Arich. That's already a certain step, as it were, down in the Hishtalshalos ha'oinamas, v'gilui ha'oinamas, from the etzem koyach of gevura, chesed gevura, mitzad ha'etzem mamish. That's already galus in the Seder ha'oinamas, or how they are ha'oinamas, ein seif, ben taim l'mayla mi'ah tzilas, and that's the two yodes, and that's why they're called yad, because yad is already indicatory of a certain Amshocha v'gilui ba'efen shel koyach. And that's the inim, how it's chesed gevura she'ba'arik. Yad ha'gedola hu etzem ha'shefa shenigla min ha'helem. In other words, l'mayla mi'arik, and like we said, these inyonim so far are only a inim from gilui ha'helem. V'yad ha'chazoka hu koyach ha'machalik. המצמצם השפע שהוא הגילוי. The Indian השפע is the Indian from גילוי, that's the יד הגדולה, ואילו יד החזקה, עניין is to, as it were, be מצמצם and מחלק into dargas and inyonim the shefa mitzad chesed, or mitzad yad hagdola. But b'sher shorshon, if we go even higher, both in how they are already a bit in elements and how they are l'mayla mea elements, ayim chesed gevura sheba'atzmas, that's mamish, in how it is mitzad the oyer, akolo b'atzmus mamish, not the errors which are already in a level gilui v'is for example, the error shehoya mamalas kol hachalol, that's a uniform gilui v'is Yilo the errors arayam kluli mamish ba'etzem, that's a chesed gvura. So what is shaykh and the etzem ha'oyer shekol b'atzmusei, a uniform chesed gvura, when he said, was there Mashu Mamshik, the Rebbe, who Mashu Oyer Ein Seiv, La Maila Ad Ein Kates, La Mata Mata Ad Ein Taklit. This is the famous Lashon Move the Samavov, the Kamam Kamas, the Chesed B'Shem HaTikunei Zoya. That there's a Lashon Daimel in the Tikunei Zoya, and that's the Indian, the Rebbe is learning it here on a very high level, that those two Inyanim, Maila Dan Kates, is the Indian for Manias, Gilui Vayirida Shel HaShefa, well, that's the Indian Agura, the Indian for Isha Kol Oila B'toich Atzmusei Mamish, Kilo Mistalik V'Misale Be'etzem Amoya, and the Indian for Lamata Mata, Adain Taklis, das ist die eine von Gilui, Tnuas HaGilui shebe'ein Tzev, and that's the Koyach HaGilui, b'madrega zu, זה נקרא חסד שבעצמו. וכמוי כן, באצילות. Now we jump from how it is mamish in Atzmusai through the Yin von Arich to the Madrega Atzilus itself. וכמו כן באצילס, אין מבחינת חסד וגבורה שבאצילס. It's also chesed ugvura, these two tnuas are gilui v'hispashtas, v'manias are gilui v'hispashtas. However, in Atzilus, shehu b'chinas koyach ha'gilui v'hispashtas, v'koyach ha'tzimtum v'hagbola. And in Atzilus, he already uses the expression hagbola, not just manias ha'shefa v'hischalchas, but ha'shefa, no, he used the expression hagbola. That's to say that in Atzilus, you've already got this Indian of Gevura can lead eventually to the Koyach HaYischalchus Shaboy. It can lead eventually to a Inyan Shel Hagbola. But not that the Hagbola is in Atzilus Atzmai Cholila. In Atzilus everything is Ein Seif Bentayim, Liz Pashtusai, but there's already a Inyan what we call Koyach HaGbola. Zehu Bechinas HaKeilim V'Ho'esias Shabbatzilus. But the Inyan from Kelim is more the Chitzenius of the Kelim. The Etzem meaning the Kelim, the Oisius is Kilo. The Etzem Koyach of Shiur in the Shefa. But that says a word of Pneumius of the Kelim, that's the Inyan from Oisius, Shabbatzilus. Or maybe a Fuk, maybe the Inyan from Kelim is the Inyan from Pneumius HaKelim, and Oisius is the Inyan Exes of Shaykh Yosha El HaPoyel. However, he said that's a Kelim, and the Exes Shabbatzilus, Shehena Magbilim Umechalchim Esoer. They are Magbil and Machalik Esoer. V'kameshikosu Sefer Shel Ben Nimshon. It's mashma that the Alter Rebbe says also over there that the two Inyanim, how they are in Atzilus, Taki the Shefa of the Ispashtas, or the Etzem Gilev Ispashtas of the Ur, and then he said you have the Inyan Kelim Voisius, but they're Machalik Magbil, S.O.R. V'Hisgalus Ha'er Shabo B'chinas Mida Ugu. So he said that the Indian oya, how it comes mamish in an over middle ugvul, hine is galus be'etzem ein ze eschatches. He said, the etzem Indian at the oya, in Atzilus will soon define what we mean by that expression that it's Inyavan Galus, which comes in the form of Midu Ugvul. We don't mean that it's Inyavan Midu Ugvul Kipshute in Atzilus. Now we're going to mean it's an Afkeminal Gabi Chutz Atzilus. However, the Etzem Gilui of that is called in the very Ispashtas that leads to Elam Atzilus Beklal, Ispashtas Oyer. And therefore, all of that is a gilui of what we called earlier, the Inyavan is galus, ein ze ischatzes, shahari kwa hoya, gilui, behelem, koidem shen is galher. That Lamaila, in the Inyavan Arich, there was already a like we pointed out, of Chesed the Gura. So how it comes into Atzilus is more b'derech Yerida, Hagshoma, or more b'derech Etzem ha'is galus, Gabi how it was in Arif. But that process is not called Yesh Me'ayin, or that's called Gilui Ahilam, as we learn about it at Baridas in the previous chapters. Avol Hagbola, the Etzem Inyan of a Hagbola, he beginners Ischatches. The Etzem Inyan that there can and will be a Inyan from Hagbola, meaning limitation of a thing limited and definable by its own literary ketzovis b'fnei atzmai, but that's the Inyan from Hagbola, that's Taka Ischatches. That's a medius Inyan from Ischatches. So in Atzilus, it's hard to say that there's really Hagbola, and therefore you can't really say that there's a emes Inyan from Ischatches. L'gabi l'mayla me'atzilus, dahainu the Inyan from Arich in Atzilus. He said that's why he says now a certain modification. L'gabi calling that Ischatches, the Inyan from Hagbola shebatzilus. He said agam shohoyas Hagbola klula tchila bekoyach hazgalus. That in the Etzem Inyan from koyach hazgalus, how it is in Arich, coming out of Pneumius Akesophomatic, then everything is betaklis ha'achtas, and the Inyan of that Hagbola is klula in the Etzem Izgalus Atzma. It's not that they're two separate in Yonim Mamish. So he says, Hine Oz, lo yehoyaso adayin b'chinas gvul klal. You can't really say that there was any Inyan from gvul, how it was in the Mokkeh and Arich, how it was makabel from Penimis Akesa. You can't say there was any Inyan of gvul there at all. No, only what do we mean by the Hagbola, which is Lafi Yerech HaIschatches, we mean only the meaning from Koyach HaMagbil, power and an ability to be Magbil something else. But not that there's an Inyan from Hagbola, Adova HaMugbal, B'fnei Atzmai, B'kitzovis, B'hagoshet, Yeses, B'matzias Shaloi. No, there's only an Inyan from Koyach LaHagbil Be'atzilas. And then we're going to see that koyach is taken over in Atzilus and also brought down further in a certain Hagshoma v'Yerida, but it's also a koyach Hagbola bilvad, not a Inyan from Hagbola mamish kipshute. Kamoi shu b'chinas arik kufa, kamoi shekolo b'chinas koyach hagilu v'espastas ta'arich, ale ena magbil klal, esoer kamoi shu b'chinas arik kufa. It's not magbil anything in Arik. Arik is betalis pshitas vayin seif l'gabi zeh, and everything is kolos zeh betoch zeh. Rak kamoisha bo ba'atzilas ari hu bo b'chinas Hagbola l'gabi b'chinas Arik. Not that it comes b'Hagbola amitius mamish, but it comes into Hagbola relatively speaking l'gabi how it was in the Inyan from Arik. וכמובן הסבור לעיל פרק שי"ג ההפרש בין בחינס האין סוף של המעלה מהאצילס ובחינס האין סוף דאצילת. In other words, both of them are declarable as Ain Sof. And the Ain Sof shel Hamayla me'atzil afilu mitzad madrega of Arik, they're called Ain Sof, Oilamus Ain Sof, and the same with Atzilas, that Atzilas is called Sof, or Oilamus Ain Sof. Yeah, so even in Atzilas you've also got the union of Ain Sof. Over there you've got already Esa Spheres, Nikorim, they're already recognizable. So he said that's a union from Esa Spheres, Ain Sof, Legis Pashtusan. In other words, that's also a union from Ain Sof, yeah, Legis Pashtusan. He said the Ain Sof, which is an Atzilas, Hakoil b'madregas Atzilas, is only within the madrega of Atzilas. Lamata me'atzilas in Biyah, it's not already Ain Sof at all, it's already the union from Gvul, Kipshutei, a union from Hagbala Mamish. Elamayla mizeh, Ain Sof shel Amayla me'atzilas, Ushanim shebekol mokim. Bekol mokim means in all the madregas and all the olamas that the is mamish Ain Sof. Like we learn when I get to say Vev Kol Almin Beklal, it's well known that we say that say Vev Kol Almin Ekipshute which is Nimta Bekol Olamas Avahu Ain Sof Lagabe Olamas, and therefore he's Bahavdola Ve'ena Betvisa Ve'Slapsus Ba'olamas Klal. So therefore he says that the union of the Ain Sof, how it is Mitzad Olamas Lamayla Me'atzilas, it's mamish makif, yeah, to Atzilas and to Biyah Kamuvan. That's Ain Sof, which is Bekol Mokim. Mashenkin, the Ain Sof, how it is in Atzilas, but that's only in Atzilas. Over Michutz Atzilas, it's already not Ain Sof. The Hashpur of Atzilas in the Biyah is already a Inyam from Hagbola, Kipshutei. Not just a koyach Hagbola, but a inifan Hagbola kipshutei. The way it is in Atzilas, it's still a koyach of Hagbola, but it's nimshach ad Ain Sof. So we see then that it's a chilik from koyach Hagbola, legabi Hagbola kipshutei. Ela shebezeh gufa, the way it is l'mayla me'atzilas, then it's bedaga seivev. And the way it is mitzad Atzilas, it's taka in from Ain Sof, but it's only Ain Sof by madregas Atzilas. Yeah, Hari, shebechinas Agvura the Arich, Eino Magbaris Aher the bechinas Arich Atzmai. There's no Hagbola mitzad the union from Gvura. In other words, that's a koyach Hagvura, a koyach lahagbil, but it's Ain Sof. Mitzad that the Eivish is Ain Sof. Therefore, even the koyach agvul, not the etzem gvul, but the koyach agvul is Ain Sof. But it's only a koyach lahagbil, yeah, not a even anything which is magbil betoich arik itself. Yeah, ene magbil is the b'chinas arik atzmai, rak pa'ulas hagvula hu de mashabor ba'atzilas hu b'chinas hagbola legabe arik. Compared to Arik, that's already a Hagbola, even though it's not immediate Hagbola, or the emerson concept of Hagbola, it's only Hagbola legabe Arik. Because in Arik, the Ain Sof is Ain Sof mamish, Bekola madregas, ve'ilu ba'atzilas, it's only Ain Sof, betoch kaviyol, the gather, or the inyan of Elam Atzilas. He said, a kamoy kain, וגם באצילס, אין מבחינת גבול עדיין, even though it's gone down into a level of Hagbola לגבי אריך, או לגבי אילמס ביאה, לגבי the musik amiti of Nivroim, it hasn't yet reached that. Therefore, feeling Atzilus, it's also רק מבחינת koyach, הגבול, a koyach which will give rise outside Atzilas to Gvul. A commission is bully or Perek Reish page650, but there is must be the whole inyan from koyach Gvul, Gabi Gvul, that the whole inyan from koyach Gvul is only to produce Gvul michutz lemadregas Atzilas, but not in from Agbola Mamish in Atzilas Chas v'Sholem, that's not Shiur. ואומר, that's the עניין המבוא שם in פרק רש פ"ח. והגבולה ממש הוא בביע, the עניין הדבר המוגבל כפשוטי, that something actually senses itself to be a dover limited and mugbal within its own tchunes, and its own shisha ketzoves v'chulu, hu b'biya. After you've got the inyan from brio, we're going to see that's the emes inyan of yesh mi'ayin, is this whole concept that from the koiches abilti gvuliyim of the gvul you get the inyan of gvul mamish kipshutei. That's the emes of musig of yesh mi'ayin. Yes, lo yoya batzilas klal, the shomu rapin koich agvul, v'agbola mamish ibevia. Shabo b'chinas agbola b'chinas matzias mami. Matzias meaning feeling itself to be an entity. Like Gabi the emes hafshota gemura of Elokus mamis, which is Atzila. Shezehu b'chinas ischatches gemura. That's not just a relative ischatches like we saw Atzilas compared to Arich. No, this is a ischatches gemura, an absolute Gilui Chodosh, Mi Hamokir, Exeze Ba'atzilas, Shaloi Hoya Ba'atzilas Klau, Teshom Hu Rak B'chinas Koyach HaGvul, HaKolu B'chinas HaGilui. That's also relatively speaking, L'gabi Biyah, that's only a Koyach which can produce Gvul Michutz Le'inyan Atzilas, and therefore it's Kolu B'Klau, in the inyan of Gilui, not being as it is yet inyan b'fnei atzmai. It's still kol in the whole Gilui Elokus, which is Atzilas. V'isavas biyah, and the bringing about, and the as they say in Yiddish, the bashavan, the actual creation of the inyan from biyah mipchinas oisias to Atzilas. They said there's a further inyan akshav which comes into play, because it asks itself the question that how do we, if we got only in Yoni which are Ain Save, we have only in Yoni Ain Save in Atzilas, and how do you get from that Ain Save to Ain Shalak Bola if you're talking about that the whole of Atzilas is Gilui, Alakus, and it's only Koilu Batzma, it's Gvul. Kilo, how do you make that jump? How do you get the oil and the shefa eloki into a madri that should be able to give rise and give chayas to something which is mamish heipach, gomer from how it is in Atzilas, daino agbola mamish. How does that whole oil and shefa, how it is in Atzilas, become ready and, as it were, ad kedei kach miskashim, that should be able to give rise and be a chayas, or even some form of chayas, to the nivroim, how they are in biyah. So therefore he says that the oil to actually be pure, the yisavas, how it is in biyah, goes through another whole medium, which apart from the gradationary Yeridas from Arik to Atzilas, v'chulu, he said you go even further and you undergo a whole new state which is called the inyan of Parsa, Mosach and Parsa. What Mosach and Parsa are like the inyan from curtains, like the very heavy helomas which do allow the oil to go through, but they, as it were, alter the whole nature of the oil, klapi the makabel, and that the gili is such, that you only receive a Oyer Shel Tul, like a newborn light, out of the light that was in Atzilas. Even though Sof Kol Sof, it's really the same light. But Klapei, the Makablim, it's been altered and hidden in such a way that it's able to be mislavish in Hagbola Kipshute. So he says that's the Inyan that's finally brought about in the Shefa of Atzilas through curtains, through Mosach Uparsa. What a Mosach, Yesh Loimer, is the stomach curtain, which is Latznias Ba'alma. Mashina Parsa is something more, as it were, thick, more coarse in its effect on the Oiras HaMagiyim Elav. And that's the Inyan for the Mosach Uparsa, Shebein Atzilas Lebiyah, was brought down in Derech Mitzvah Barichas, in Mitzvahs Mila, the Rebbe's Mazvah, this whole Inyan of Mosach and Parsa, also Barichas over there. Shebein Atzilas Lebiyah, Shehein Oisias Hamastirim, Umalim Legamrei, Al Oisias Datzilas. In other words, that up to now we've had Oisias, like we said, Oisias are Keilim already, they're already the Koyach HaMachalik, and the Koyach HaGvur, and all those Inyonim, what their Inyan is, even if you read Tzimtzum V'Ischalchas, like Yavi the Pshitas Ha'oyer, but it's all in the Madrega Vatzilas. It's all in even for Gila Elakus, it's the different nuances within the Gila Elakus. Dahainu, the Inyan of Yerida, V'Ischalchas, the Gabi the Pshitas of the V'chulu. However, once those oases, how they are in Atzilas, they meet the Inyan of the Parsa and the Mosach, then they undergo, as it were, Legabi the Makablim, of course, not Be'etzem, they undergo, Legabi the Makablim, a change. Ukiyadua, he says, the Atzilas, Ubchinas Machshova, Commission is Bua Li'il, Perik Ray study. So over there in Perik Ray study, the Rebbe points out that if we take away from Kloli and the Seder at the Giluim or the Eilamas, then Atzilas is kilo already the beginning of the Inyan from Levushim. It's not yet Mamish the Inyan from Levushim, because Mamish Levushim are only Shayach in Eilamas Biyah. Or as it were, the beginning of the concept of Levushim not being Gilui Atzmi, like for example, the Eser Koichas, are like Giluyim Nafshi and Mamish, until they're called in Tanya, the Inyan Etzem HaNefesh. Even the Eser Bechinas are called in Tanya, the Etzem HaNefesh. And the module for that is the Eilamas L'mayla Me'atzilas, because they're still Klulim in a way, like we sort of, they're Ein Sof Amiti. They're like a Ein Famaki for Kolo Eilamas Biyachad. And once you get into Atzilas, you've already got a beginning, as it were, of the Gilui Klapi Chutz inside Elakus Atzmei, a Dayan, albeit there's still a Eilam HaElakus V'Achtas, but there's already this nuance appearing, which is going to give rise to Oasis, which will be Mahava Biyah, Kipshute. So therefore it's called Oasis HaMachshova, but even Kloli. But Klolos Inyan, Kol HaGiluyim, Tzilas is called the Inyan HaMachshova. For the reason we just pointed out, that it's like the beginning of the Inyan HaLavushim. Commission is born. That was Mavu in Perik Ray study. And we saw over there that he makes the Chilik, the Rebbe, that there are two different types of Oasis HaMachshova, or two different types of relationship to the actual Seichel and the Inyan of Machshova, which is Oasis. So if we take the Moshel out, is Benefesh HaOdam, the Inyan HaMachshova being the first Lavush, and the Lavush HaMiyuchad Im HaNefesh, v'lavush ha-miyuchad b'protius, with the inyan from seichel, then what is the inyan of lavushim, the inyan from oisias? The klolus inyan from lavushim is oisias, as is well known. And therefore the inyan from makshova is the inyan from gilui, like we saw b'derahu ba'even shal oisias. But we saw that the certain daragas of the kelim and Atzilus are already describable as oisias mamish. And therefore we say that the oisias are makshova yesh shechoishev, the certain, let's say, a person thinking about what is understood in the lavush makshova, yesh shechoishev raches o seichel, v'oisias einam nirgoshim klal. Certain people in the level of makshova, it's very difficult to differentiate between the seichel and the oisias, which are the lavush to the seichel. Why? Because the person is so busy with the etzem musag that his seichel, and anyway deals only with the etzem musag. That's the koyches Chabad. They deal only with the etzem seichel. And the oisias must be there, otherwise it wouldn't be makshova. He's already beginning to sort of think about the inyan benegeli atzmei, ochoponim, but he doesn't really notice the oisias, and the oisias are not near goshim, because he's still busy with the pratim of the etzem hamusag. However, there can be other madregas, v'yesh misha choisha v'es oisias, Mikol Mokim, Arimea Behem Seichel. The other person is busy with the inyan and the oisias, but nonetheless, the Seichel is Meya in those oisias. And the Rebbe points out over there in Ray's study that that's like the difference between a person who's thinking about only the etzem thing he's understood, or a person who's busy within his seichel as to how he's going to give that out, b'diva, at a later point. In other words, he's already thinking in that seichel that he's mizboinen boy, keitzad hu yigaleh ze hala, either to shoimim and eventually to the klolos oilam. How is he going to reveal that? And then he's more busy with oisias, because dibur, in the inyan is gabrus oisias yoter. Dibur is when your mom is talking about oisias. So therefore the madrega of he's busy with the oisias inside the makshova, but that's the inyan of preparing what he's eventually going to speak about. So therefore the gabi, the emisar of muskal, well, that's a madrega of oisias. And kiru isuk and busyness and children in the inyan oisias. Yeah. So therefore he says, the yesh shecheshev es oisias al manas ledaber mikol mokim hari meya behem seichel. Ach shebo, b'pinas tefisa be oisias. Since he's got to give it over into the inyan of dibur, as it were, then the oisias are more to the fore in the way of his thinking about it, and they, as it were, hold. The word tfisa indicates the idea of, in Yiddish, onchappen, to, as it were, hold on to the inyan of the seichel in such a way that it'll be possible to give it over and pass it over to a makabel. He said, "Bavadai, shehina gilui shova, yekem may ba'ifan abei ha'alav." In the second even does the zikr that the gilui of the seichel, the gabi diosis, is not comparable to how it was by even ha'alav, where he was thinking only of the seichel, and he didn't really pay attention to the oisias. Mikol mokim areimeya oira seichel. Either way, the ikar inyan and the ikar concern is the oira seichel. Omer nimtza shebeklal samachshova, agam namachshova is a lavush and therefore it's oisias. Over in the lavush makshova, with all of its issues, nonetheless the Ika concern beneged to the Tilde of the Inyan Aizgalas is the Seichel. It's more the concern, and the Etzem Izgalas Bapoyel is the Seichel. And the issues are, as it were, Nitfelim and Tofelim El Inyan Era Seichel. And that's Beklalas, the Inyan from Makshova. Over that's Beklalas, the Inyan from Atzilas. Ever since the Asias are Tofelim Lagami to the Inyan Seichel, meaning the Ika Inyan from Oyer Hagiloi, and therefore in Atzilas the Ika is the Giloi, not the Inyan from Hagbola. It's only a Koyach of Hagbola. He said of a Perika now, meaning in Reish Tzadik, and his boy says, the way we deal with it in a way of a person being concerned with how he's going to give it out. But Dibur, that's right to what we call Beklal. In Atzilas, the Inyan Chitzonius, okay. The Mikol Mokim, Atzilas are called Bechinas Tzelem. So he said, nonetheless, no matter how you'll take that, he says the Beklolas Atzilas, it's the Inyan from Tzelem. So what's the Inyan from Tzelem? Well, that's how he begins the whole chapter. Reish Tzadik over there, that we say that the Eibishter made the Odom, but Talmeinu Kid Museinu. In other words, to reach the Giloi HaOdam, there had to be two madrigas, Talmeinu v'Kid Museinu. Well, Tzelem is Mavur over there. The Tzelem is what we call a Shiur Atzmi. It's like a shape which doesn't alter the Atzmas. It's all, as it were, like a Chakika and a part of the Atzmas itself. It's like a Shiur Atzmi, and that's the Inyan of the Pnimius HaKelim over there, that the Pnimius HaKelim, their whole Inyan is just to be a Shiur in the very Oyer itself, and in the Pnimius of the Oyer, and Kavanos v'chulu. However, the Inyan from Chitzonius or Isias, they're already concerned with ultimately giving the Gilui B'Biyah. So he says, since somehow or another they're concerned with the Inyan from Gilui, they're already shy to the Inyan from Kid Museinu, to most Bilbao. However, the Ika Inyan from Kid Museinu is Eilam Biyah. That's what he points out over there. And therefore, even the Dumus, how it is in Atzilas, is Beklolas, Inyan from Tzelem compared to Biyah. Therefore, Atzilas is Beklal, even with the second Madrega in Machshova, it's still the Inyan from Tzelem, not the Inyan from concern with the Makabu, Bapeo, which is the Inyan from Dumut. He says, Inyan a Parsa is yet at concern. He says, in the Inyan from Parsa, Ukemoya Moshel, Shebo Bedvorim Zorim Legamre, Min Haseicho. He said, therefore, a dogma to this whole Inyan of the Parsa, what we pointed out is a much more Magushim Dike Helem, and it brings to a Oyer Shal Tulda, literally a Kaviyohal, as it were, a Shinui in the Inyan from the Oyer. So he says that's the Inyan from the Parsa, and it's well known, brought down in Torah on Parsha Vayero, that the whole Inyan of the Parsa, that's like the Inyan of the usage on the part of a Mashpia, the Inyan of a Moshel, yeah, by from Claudia. And it's well known that Chassidus has a very great number of Masholim, many from the Baal Shem Tov and from the Magid, however, and from the Alter Rebbe, however, you have to be very medactic with a Moshel. You can't just be Manzi, all sorts of Masholim, because they seem to you to be familiar or they have some kesher with the Inyan. Sof Kosov, even though the moshel is a lavush, kovet lafiyera, but it's got to be very medactic and very, very close to the Indian, the nimshal. And therefore we find that in numerous places in Tanya, when the Alter Rebbe brings a moshel, he says, "V'ha moshel lazeh." The moshel for this is kach v'kach. In other words, he says the moshel, meaning that these mosholim are specific and they're inyanim that have been mekubal, mi Rebbe l'Rebbe v'chulu. They're not just psainim. Just like kol inyanim b'chsidus, particularly those things which derive from the Rabbeim, even the stories and the sipurim that we have, v'yadena from the Rabbeim, are all b'tachlis adiyuk. They're all marames, and they're all indicating and illustrating all sorts of deep hoiroas, beneged to the life of a yid and the dina from hashkofe, chsidish chinuch, v'chulu. Ain Lahari Bedova Hayidua. However, that's even though we're being rather sort of hard on the end of a moshel over here, we're sort of playing down the what might appear to be the value of a moshel. Nonetheless, it's a very, very deep thing, and it's well known that only somebody who has a very profound knowledge of the whole Indian, he can produce a moshel. And therefore that's the Indian of Mishlei Shlomo HaMelech, that Davke Shlomo HaMelech, he could say mosholim. Because he was so high in the Indian of Chokmah that he could produce a moshel. Kach Mavur became a Mekemes in Torah and a couple of places of Bekola Mekemes. V'hareya, says the Rebbe Indian HaParsa, ukamei a moshel. Shebo bidvorim zorim legamre. The moshel can be a inyan which has no open shaychus to the seichel, and therefore it's a dover zar legamre mina seichel. V'harei hargosha yehu ha-moshel shu levush zar legamre. Hargosha meaning, what does a person sense and feel that he's really relating to it, he's shaykh to, is the moshel. He doesn't really have any musag klal in the nimshal. Therefore, he relates to and he feels the moshel. That talks to him in a way that he relates to it. So therefore he said, Gosha hu moshel shu levush zar legamre. And it could be that what that's indicating is something tremendously high and tremendously dark. Yeah, but dark is Shabbatak is, therefore it's a completely foreign sort of entity. Yeah, the Gavi Diamit is a Nimshal. He said, Ve'ulavu Zah Legamre, Va'ir Seichel Mis'alim Legamre. It's not that the moshel reveals the Seichel. The moshel just gives you like the tail end of a certain trace of the seichel in another world altogether apart from what the seichel really is. So there is a dover zara garmish eino yadeya oise klal. You come to when you learn a moshel, you think you're really learning. You're also learning the nimshal. You're not. You're really just getting a very vague sort of idea of the moshel, of the nimshal, but you don't really know the amit is a nimshal cloud. A very strong lesson. Umikom hakim, yesh eze is galas alidei moshel, and yet nonetheless there is some form of his galas through the inif and the moshel. Otherwise, they wouldn't give the moshel in the hope that you'll have some appreciation of the nimshal. So we got then like two almost opposites. On the one hand, the moshel is masti legamri. It's like a dover zah altogether. However, he said, on the other hand, there is a certain gilui, a galas, through the moshel. Ruhu ki a moshel hula seichel omuk shalei berach sikloi. He said that because the marshal is a marshal to a seichel omuk, which is not berach to the seichel of the person busying with that whole particular inyan. Meaning that if he needs a marshal in order to appreciate the nimshal, that's a sign that he's in another, like to use the old expression, he's in another league altogether. He's not in the era of that seichel v'klal, and therefore the amkus of that seichel, even after he's got the marshal, and he understands, as it were, the protim of the marshal, that doesn't really give him anything but the erech amiti into the amkus of the nimshal. Okay, says mishle shleimai. It's well known. Shemitad oimek chok mosei lo yehoye be'efshori lo ye'bizgalas ki'im b'mashorim. Therefore, the Shlomo Melech, Davki mitzad Gedel Chok Mosei, he needed Masholim because it wasn't possible mitzad the Gedel Oimek Adova to give them to give over those Musogim and those Sikliim the way they were by him. And therefore he had no brayer but to come on to Ain and have a marshal, Binyanim Zorim. And he'll soon say in our brackets a little bit further down, the Rebbe, the take of miyad b'izgalas Moshiach, then we will understand the nimsholim of Shlomo HaMelech. In other words, nowadays we just have a shalih be'er, a little scratch of really what's going on. We're fakoked in the marshal, but we only have a very, very vague trace of some sort of gishmak in the nimshal. But take of miyad, when Mashiach will come, then we'll be able to appreciate the amidas marshal, the amidas nimshal, the emes concept, and then it'll be like the famous remark of the Rebbe that Tzemel Tzedek, that one will say, oh, aha, meaning now I really get it. Now, and up to now we've just been dealing with as it were, a trace of it, a dovazah. However, when Moshiach will come, then we'll say, oh, yeah, so I get the idea. So that was the Rebbe. You're really dealing with two different planes of level and his scholars all together. So he says, Arei al kaponim, Yodeh mizeh, sheyesh Torah, he does know, from the Dvarim Zorim, he does know that there's a Dvar shel Lamayla mi'aseichel. The Rebbe even calls it Lamayla mi'aseichel, meaning Lamayla from his level altogether in Seichel. The Dvar shel Lamayla mi'aseichel, the Lula HaMoshul, lo yehoye yodeh klal, sheyesh Dvar shel Lamayla mi'aseichel. In other words, he would live perfectly comfortably the way he is, and he wouldn't even know of all these hoicha inyanim and all these inyan shel Lamayla. And we get a seichel harogil, that is truly, even the marshal, he gets the idea that there are all sorts of tremendous inyanim going on. I will love that he knows any sort of real appreciation in the oimek of the nimshal. And therefore he said it's a whole new concept that the inyan, but a marshal teaches us that we know about something that we don't really know b'klal. In other words, it just shows us that there is something that you don't really know. Ainu yodim klal shenimtzu oimek hazeh, v'alidei hamarshal yodeh sheyesh seichel omer, shelamayla mi'asogeh sikloi legamrei. That the marshal does you a service, but it does you a very sort of, when you think about it, ultimately, it's a frustrating type of service, because the inyan of a marshal shows you that you can't really be masig the nimshal, and what you think you understand the nimshal is beklal, not the immediate inyan beklal. It's only that you just know that there is a inyan, but you're not really masig it. And if it hadn't been for the Moshul, you would have lived comfortably without even being aware that there is some oimek. Now, so it's sickly legamre, ki yesh oisias. Oh, so don't come to us that the oisias of the Moshul, they indicate to you something that you're not really massing. If I come to us that what sort of oisias are they? So there was the Rebbe that they're oisias toivim, and they have a certain inyan of their own, which is shy to their inyan. However, that inyan doesn't really tell you the immediate derech to the oimek of the emes nimshal. It only just indicates to you that there are. Although there's basically nothing wrong with the actual Seder of the ages of the Moshel. And now he goes on to say that there is sometimes a Seder in the ages which is not a Seder. That sometimes a mensch can try to be masig in yonim which are beklal not shy to him, and then what happens through that is that the oil retracts completely from the oisias altogether, and the etzem oil of the segal is kilo mistalik betoich, even higher than the inyan segal, and the oisias are left without like any, just like the inyan from toihu, they're left without any toichan, and then they Rahman and Islam, they can have like a yurid and a shvira which causes a infant shigoyan, kaviyochel. Not kaviyochel. No, Indian kilo, but to use the expression in Yiddish, it's called good fadreyan, the mensch. So, since that's a very deep Indian in the brackets, where the Rebbe points out how careful you have to be when you're dealing with things which are basically l'mayla me'aseichel b'klal, I think we'll maybe leave that till the coming time, because it's a very demanding. Just suffice it to say that the Rebbe uses the word shigoyan or meshuga, meaning that that's oisias where they've separated from their nimshul altogether, because the nimshul is just impossible klal for that particular person. Mashagin, we were talking about the moshul with the nimshul. We're saying that the moshul doesn't really tell you, because of the ein harich of the nimshul, doesn't really introduce you to the emes essence of the nimshul at all. However, it does indicate to you that there is such a inyan. And maybe after 40 years, let's say after a boy in Shnin, then the mensch could come to the emes inyan of that nimshal, because sof kosof the Oisias still have a certain relationship. Over in Oisias builty masudorim, which comes from a person being oisik in things which are basically beyond him altogether, then there can be like a separation altogether of the moshel and the nimshal, in a way that they have absolutely no kesher, and then the oisias don't reveal anything to you about anything in particular. They just become, to use the expression, fadreita oisias. So then you have to be, from that we see that, you have to always learn tifa inyonim only from Rabbeim, and only from Rabbeim who have emes Kabbalah mi'ader shelifneihem, and then through the medium of a genuine mashpia v'chulu, in order to get the right balance in the inyanim. That's the inyan of the parsa, and that's we see that the marshal is a complete shinui compared to the nimshal. And that's the inyan of the parsa, and that's bringing us closer to the etzem yeridus hashefa or oyer, in a way that it can be mamish mahava the nivroim mugbalim v'hagbola gemura in olam hazbiyah. And we'll see that that's the emissary in van Yesh Me'ayin. But Nimtzalef, he said that alle inyanim and Elokus, how they are, before the Inyan van Yesh Me'ayin, are all Ein Sof. They're all Elokus Mamish, and they're all B'li Gvul. Even if we talk about Gvul Sheba Ein Sof, the Gvul Sheba Ein Sof is also B'li Gvul. It's a koyach of Gvul, which is B'li Gvul. Everything in Elokus is Ein Lez Sof, Ein Lez Tachlis. The etzem inyan that can be a dover sheyesh lo matzias mugbo v'teich hakitzovis v'hargosha shaloi, well, that's already an inyan v'yesh me'ayin. That's the immediate inyan v'yesh me'ayin. And so Beis Hashem in the coming Shiur we'll deal with that. Good. Okay, so I think we'll hold there for this evening, and Beis Hashem will start off, not that we'll start off with the Indian show, Bilti Seder, but we'll deal with that bracket at the beginning of the coming Shiur, and then we'll flow further, but we've already given the main picture. And that's the whole Indian of Chassidus is to link the Hagbolah with the Bli Hagbolah. What do we mean link? That ultimately speaking, the Bli Hagbolah should be mislavish in the Hagbolah. And that's the Inyan and Save V'tov Mamale with the whole amazing cloud that we have in Chassidus. And that's Inyan for Moshiach. That the Yer HaSeiv will be Nimshel B'pnimis Anivra. That will become the Inyan for Noyer Mamale. And that the ultimate tachlis is Darkei Dio Pnimi. So there we are, guys, and it should all be with great atzlocha, and the emphasis that all these things lead to one and only conclusion, that we want Moshiach now, that we have to have the Gula Midas Vashlema, because then all these inyonim will be begilui, and we'll be able to understand, and we'll see the infant, but it built Gvul, but Teicha Gvul. And Beis Hashem, there's another couple of days coming up, Kof Beis Shvat, the Staugas, the Hilula of the Rebbetzin. And it's well known, the Rebbe said that began a whole new tkufa, that up till then had been a tkufa also, ufaratsta b'efen aki niflo, v'chulu, but after Kof Beis Shvat, it begins the, how do you call it, the infant Kabbalah's Panei Mashiach Tzidkenu, and the Gila Mashiach Mamish. So, it should be with Atzlocha, guys. And good to hear from you all, good to see you all. And who do we have with us tonight? We had the guys from Kwakabad, Moshe, and we had Baruch, of course. It's very faithful to the Shiur. And I think we had David Dexter, did we? Was he linked? Yeah, I have a feeling. And it's good to be
and we also had Tzemach.
Oh, yeah, Tzemach.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, yeah, Tzemach.
Yeah, I'm very glad to be back.
Wow, man, that's really wonderful. Shalom Aleichem.
Aleichem Shalom, thank you.
That's really wonderful to see you and to hear you. I could see that you were sort of, your picture was sort of very, it was Bekalim, so I was wondering if that meant you were actually appearing in the Eres with the Kalim. That's great. So listen, greeting to all the guys over there, and to all the guys and to everybody, and it should be in a name from Koyel Yimei Chayecho Lahovi Tehu Miyad LeYemois Mashiach. And then the Oyer Haki Eliyain, the chesed eishes ekolu, ve'atzmusa yizborach, but that'll be begiloi lamata in the Hagbola Mamoshias, or the Yesh, and Mamela Satan Gut and Freilach.
Amen.
Simchas Olam, Be'ez Hashem. Good.
יחי אדוני רבנו ורבנו מלך משיח לעולם ועד.
Yechi Adonenu Marenu Rabbeinu Melech Mashiach Le'olam V'ed. That's
יחי אדוני
B'tzion.
רבנו ורבנו מלך משיח לעולם ועד.
Yechi Adonenu Marenu Rabbeinu Melech Mashiach Le'olam V'ed. I can
יחי
hear.
אדוני רבנו ורבנו מלך משיח לעולם ועד.
Yechi Adonenu Marenu Rabbeinu Melech Mashiach Le'olam V'ed.
עד מתי.
Ad Masai.
עד מתי.
Ad Masai.
עד מתי.
Ad Masai. Ben Zion, good for you, my boy. Did you guys say L'chaim as well?
לחיים, לחיים, לחיים.
L'chaim, Chaim L'Vrach.
Amen.
Chaim L'Vrach. Good. Okay. So be well. I'm looking forward next week to further contact. And meantime, keep all the flags flying. Koto, seid gewandt. Koto.
Rabbi Gafne,
Yes, Maisha.
could you give me again the password because I got disconnected in the middle and I don't remember the password.
I'm sorry?
Could you give me again the password?
Give you again, yes. 6789.
Mm-hmm. Alright, so just leave your computer open.
I'm sorry? There was some
I'm
problem?
just saying, leave your computer open.
Oh, very good. So everything sort of righted itself out. Eh? Everything came good, yeah?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
very good. Very good, Maisha. Thank you, my boy. I can see you with your head gear on there. So I'll leave the computer on for the time being, yeah?
Yeah, I saw you during one lesson. I saw you in the middle.
Very good. Very good. Excellent. Well, listen, Maisha.